Okay. And let me just do this. Okay.
Oh, we're live streaming.
Yeah.
So that's
Ooh.
exciting.
Yeah. I'm live streaming. Um,
Live stream.
Everything's great. We're doing fabulous.
Okay, we are
I
live
like
streaming.
it. I
It's
really
for
like the
real.
lights. I'm actually like, and
It's
now with this
glamorous.
this shadowy corner, it's like it's pretty magical actually. Like
Yeah.
I'm leaning into it. Yeah.
I'm here
Um
for it.
Welcome to Great Goodness. Thank you everyone for watching this. Thank you for being here and wanting to find out more about Monica Prince and all the magic that she brings with her. I'm so excited because we're going to talk about choreopoems, and I think that is really interesting. And I have a lot to learn about it, and I just think it's fascinating. So, okay, I'm going off on a tangent. But I'm Angela Dribbin. I'm with Great Goodness. This is my partner, Karen Stewart,
Hello.
and our guest today, Monica Prince.
Hello.
Yay. And Karen, we're going to have Karen start by giving us a card to kind of set the tone.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yes. Okay. So today I am pulling from the Urban Crow Oracle deck
Awesome.
that was created by MJ Cullinane. And here is the lovely guidebook that comes with it.
Mm.
Um, and she has, I love her descriptions of all these cards that she creates, and we will not be referring to those today because we are just going to intuitively pull a card and just talk about what strikes us about the card. So are
Amazing.
y'all ready?
Hmm.
Oh,
Do it.
I should show you the backs of the card.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right. Okay, so that's what every back of every card in here looks like. And today we're going to talk about, oh, how lovely. I'm getting a sneak peek.
She always does that.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm so obnoxious. Oh, this is a goodie, y'all. Gifts.
Oh,
Gifts.
Oh,
Right?
that's perfect. I like that.
Oh,
I love that.
Look at
well,
all
who
those pretty
doesn't love
things.
gifts?
Girl.
Oh,
Uh, Yeah, and I
and
love
you
that
know,
it's a crow and what
crows like to give gifts
Yeah,
yeah.
for real. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
that's
And
lovely.
what they see as gifts is is a different lens,
Yeah.
than even though it may always be something shiny. I actually know a crow who goes she's a hairstylist and her daughter passed away in a car accident and she was having a really hard time and she thought she was actually thinking about leaving her space and going she's like I just can't do
Oh,
this and this crow showed up and she fed it a hash brown. Of course,
oh,
because that's what you do when a
that's
crow
all it
shows up.
takes.
Absolutely.
That and that crow started coming back. That crow, it's been years, and that crow comes every day, eats hash browns, takes hash
Oh,
browns. The crow has a lover, and sometimes it'll take a hash brown to the lover, and then come back and get another one. And yeah, uh, so
That's
crows,
delightful.
crows are lovely.
They
They
yeah,
are
are.
lovely.
I
yeah,
love that much. That's so
it's
beautiful.
yes, and I hear her talk when my acupuncturist is beside her, so I hear her talking to her crow, and it's just I don't know, something so special. When I saw that, that was the first story I thought about.
You
That's
know,
so
and the cool
excellent.
thing, one of the cool things about this card, I think, is the crow is it just showed what the crow's gifts are, right? The
Hmm.
material gifts, safety pin, a little stone, a star. But you know, there's the gifts also that we share with each other that are not tangible
Hmm.
things,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
our creativity,
yeah,
Yeah.
like our poems,
yeah,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
our dance.
I like all of that. That's so beautiful.
That was the perfect card, Karen.
An excellent card.
Good
That's
pull.
great.
Yeah.
That's what we that this energy brought this crow to us today with the
I,
gifts.
I'm
Love
not
it.
surprised because, okay, Monica, I wanted, unfortunately, I lost Monica's first recording. And so we had to have her come again. We didn't have
Okay.
to, we get to have her come again. And she was kind enough to come again. There was something that I really wanted from that recording though. Do you remember there was a professor who did not respond as generously to some of your work, but there was a word that you felt, was it magnificent? Like, or what
I,
was that you embodied?
I said, I remember my response was that I said that it must be so lonely to not be on my side,
Yeah.
because everyone else believes in me, so why don't you?
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's just like I don't know, I consider myself like magnificent. I consider myself spectacular, and I I remember like having that conversation and being very confused simply because not because I'd never received like rejection or whatever, but because I had never encountered someone who claimed to know my work very well to just kind of respond with negativity. It didn't make sense to me.
Mm,
So I don't remember what I said. I can't remember.
I think you said it well enough again. And that to
yeah.
me was such a gift in that recording. And one of the reasons, I honestly, I was a bit heartbroken to lose that one because that was such a gift that you shared with us was to remember that we are magnificent. Like, and to walk that way, to hold that. And that was such a gift you'd been given,
Yeah.
like your parents, your sister, your family, your community, like you'd received that in enough ways that you were able to reflect that to me, and I feel like to Karen too, and then to everyone who listens. So I know we haven't done your bio, but
That's okay.
that was
I
that was that was one of
don't
your that was one of your shiny star gifts, and so
know.
Yeah.
I just thought about that. And
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Karen, read her
I didn't
bio
mean
so
to
I
take
don't
this away prematurely.
know.
That's okay.
Did we
Yeah.
have more comments about this?
I just think it's lovely.
Yeah. I think,
I think just thinking about gifts is lovely.
yeah.
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 Let's let's will you read Monica's bio for
I would
us?
love to read her
Yeah.
bio
Because I
and
want to talk about all her other gifts.
yes, and
I
I'm
feel like I
gonna
have to do the bio first.
I
That's
did
fair.
have to consult my husband on how to pronounce this university. So if I got it wrong, it is totally on him. I want to pronounce it like a southerner from North Carolina. But anyway, here we go. This is a great bio, y'all. Anyway, I'm so excited to have Monica here. So here we go. Monica Prince, Associate Professor of Activist and Performance Writing, serves as Director of Africana Studies at Susquehanna University in Pennsylvania. She is the author of Roadmap, a choreopoem, How to Exterminate the Black Woman, a choreopoem, Instructions for Temporary Survival, and Letters from the Other Woman. Her work appears in Wildness, the Missouri Review, the Texas Review, the Rumpus, MadCap Review, American Poetry Journal, and elsewhere. As one of the foremost choreopoem scholars, Prince writes, teaches, and performs choreopoems across the nation. I'm so
Mm.
excited. We are so excited to have you here, Monica. Thank you so
I'm glad to be
much.
part of this
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah.
So I'm gonna get you to start.
Hmm.
What is a Chorea poem? What makes a poem a
Absolutely.
Chorea poem?
Of course, yeah. A choreopoem is a choreographed series of poems that includes dance, music, live art, yoga, parkour, choirs. Think of what else I add to them. Video clips, podcasts, lines of dialogue, all kinds of things. Any sort of performance media you can think of, all rolled together and thrown on stage like a play. And so the idea behind a choreopoem is that you have an idea or a narrative that you want to link to more than just the page and to more than just like the voice. You want to be able to access this idea from every single angle possible. Right.
Mm.
And so like the original choreopoem is For Color Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow's Enough, written by Ntozake Shange. She's the creator of this form, and she wrote many choreopoems. She passed away in 2018, and we're very sad. But she left this massive legacy of writers who just want to, who understand that like a story or an experience is more than just the words you put to it. It has to be embodied, and that embodiment requires more than just your voice. So that's what I do. That's what I write, and that's what I perform. I have actually another one coming out in the spring, in January. I just had one accepted for publication, which is super exciting. It's called Force, and it is coming out through Harbor Editions in on January 15th. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
that,
exciting.
yeah, we'll put that in the link down below as well. So, um, for some reason, I thought you had one coming out this fall. Did I miss that? I'm incorrect.
Maybe that was just wishful thinking,
It
Angie.
could be. I know. Um,
Possibly.
okay. So I have a question about this. Okay, because I know, all right, so played out on a stage, but I also heard like video clips, and I'm wondering, um, would it be a choreo poem if you're linking only video clips, or you're linking like 3D images and making them into a video, but there's no stage or no person on a stage? Would it still count as a choreo poem?
Oh, absolutely. There
Okay.
are, what I really like about choreopoems is that because they have this like semi-rigid definition, which is mostly just that, like you have to have an overarching premise, commitment to art, and source material. And the thing that makes it a choreo poem is that there's a usage of poetry, and that's the biggest thing. The choreo part is obviously dance, but dance doesn't necessarily have to be a part of it if you're utilizing other forms of media. And so I bring this up because I think about Sita Sings the Blues, which is this beautiful animated movie by Nina Paley, and it's like free on YouTube. Everyone can see it wherever they feel. And I consider it a choreopoem because she links like an ancient story from, I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm not going to say it, from India, that chronicles the experience of Sita and Ram, and how and what their love looked like. And so she links that story to a woman in San Francisco whose husband or partner moves to India, like sort of on a fluke, and he realizes like he doesn't really want to be with her anymore, and it's like super sad for her. And that, I consider that a choreo poem because she links the major plot points in the show with gestures. So there are like three Indian deities essentially who are telling the story, and they explain things for you in between pieces. Sita actually sings all the songs
Mm.
in the piece. So whenever you hear something and then she sings some lovely song that may or may not be relevant directly, and you have like these different forms of animation throughout the whole show. And so even though there's no stage, it is still like a performance. It is a production. And so I think that's the thing that I want people to understand, is that the benefit of a choreo poem is that the the energy behind it is more important than necessarily the venue. When you do them live, obviously the venue matters because you want to let people have access to it. But the energy is really the most important thing. It's like, what kind of story are you trying to tell? And if you're not telling a story, what kind of information is necessary for the audience to receive, and how do you want them to receive it?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm feeling like the Chorea poem is like a multi-sensory experience for the person that's taking it in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Would that be, I mean, I'm just thinking, oh, it's coming at you from everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have this choreo poem I'm working on right now called Hysteria, and it's like a one woman show, but it's a choose your own adventure type show. So on one hand, I'm like, oh yes, this could be published and lovely and whatever. But on the other hand, I'm like, what if this was just a virtual show where I have these individual poems that are recorded for individually, and then as you work through it, you make decisions, and they link you to the next video, and they link you to the next video,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. And so I've been thinking about that. And so that's like another point, right? The idea that
Mm-hmm.
like there is a stage, but it's like removed from the audience, because the idea is to increase accessibility so that there's more people can experience it, even if they're not there live. Yeah, lots of different words.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like I wish I had known about choreo poems a long time ago because I feel like in a way that was what I was trying to do with with some of my work, but I didn't even know what to call it. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
really for some reason having a name for something um it can be really validating and it can help you figure out which direction to take it in. And I think that's true for a lot of
Yeah.
things. I mean, naming can be dangerous and also naming can be helpful, you know.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
can
kind of it
be.
gives you a container, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yes.
this
Yeah.
this is not this vague thing that I'm trying to put my head around. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a choreo poem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I, yeah. Keep going. No, keep going.
well, I was wondering, so this is what you teach. Was there already was there already a field like already this position at the university, or did you create this?
Created this.
Do you
Yay.
create everything for like,
Almost.
yeah.
I mean, and that goes back to my like what I said before about like the loneliness of not being a cheerleader for Monica, is essentially that I don't know. I was raised to be magic, perfect, and brilliant like my whole life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that I was full of magic and I could do whatever I wanted. And I and my parents reinforced this, my teachers reinforced this, my professors reinforced this, and I surrounded myself with people who also reinforced this. And so even when I encounter rejection, I'm more inclined to just make it myself instead of waiting for a space for it to happen. And so, so an example essentially is that, so when I actually not an example, well, whatever. So when I was hired at Susquehanna back in 2017, I was hired as a creative writing fellow. So I was a grant funded, maybe grant funded position. Essentially, I was only supposed to be there for a year, maybe two. And my entire job was to write poems, teach classes, and do community engagement, which is my favorite thing because it's super vague. And, so, and that's when I wrote and I completed, wrote, and directed the choreo, my very first published choreo poem, "How to Exterminate the Black Woman," and I had it on campus. I had all students involved. Like I had student assistant directors, student stage managers. All my actors were students, and they were students from every part of the university. I
Mm-hmm.
had one actual theater student. Everybody else was chemistry, finance, business management, my choreographer was a yeah, she was a finance major, and then one of the main actors was a sports communication major, and like and so that meant that mostly we sold out, like we packed audience both nights, specifically because people from all over the university had an investment in these people because they were students from everywhere. And
Yeah.
so and so like that was what I did, right? I'm like, this is how I do community engagement. My superpower is I can make anyone a good performer. It's my superpower. And
Mm.
so following this like excessively successful production, the president actually went to the board of trustees and said like, she's gonna leave
Mhm.
because that's what the position requires. She can't leave. And so they ended the fellowship and they created a tenure track line for me in activist and performance writing.
Mm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question. Use the word accessibility.
Yeah.
And then one thing I just was hearing you talk about is how it was people, like people were involved from all disciplines, from all backgrounds. And and I thought that's such an interesting thing. Do you feel like that happens in all choreo poems? Is that like how, because I think that is that's okay. Sometimes I feel like poets read poems.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And I don't know that it extends that far beyond poets that
Yeah.
poems do. And I'm not trying to be, but I do feel that there's some truth in that. Okay, we can
Mhm.
say there's outliers.
Mhm.
But it feels like to me like choreo poems, the accessibility is also the inclusion. Uh,
Mhm.
Is that, I mean, is that it? Is that part of it? Is
Absolutely. The choreopoem is a deeply collaborative experience.
deeply collaborative. I love that.
Yeah, because it can't just be about the writer, it can't just be about the director, it can't just be about one actor. What I really love about choreopoems is that there's so much space in them to like to add more, if that makes sense. So
Mm.
in How to Exterminate the Black Woman, the idea is that there are only Black women in the show. Like originally, the original version of it, there were 7 Black women in the show, and that those are the only people in the show. When we produced it on campus, we added one Black man because there's a scene where Expectation, she's like the lady in yellow, she is talking about the daughter she may or may not have, right? She's the pregnant one in the show. And she's supposed to be she's dancing like a waltz. And originally she was supposed to do it by herself. But then we realized, my lovely actress was like, I don't have that kind of rhythm to dance solo. I was like, that's okay. And so we added this extra actor to lead her, but specifically to double down on the point that she was pregnant. Like that part was really important. He had no lines, but he was there to like double down on the original meaning, even though it's not written into the text. And so, and that's the same thing that happens in For Color Girls. Like in For Color Girls, there is a scene where it's under, I actually can't remember the name of the poem. One. It's under, it doesn't matter. And so the in one of the scenes, like Lady in Blue or Orange is talking, and another woman enters and she's supposed to be pursued by a man, and then the person who's like speaking the poem becomes that man and follows her.
Oh.
And in the PBS version, they actually had another man like be the person who like followed and then he left. But most productions don't even include that. Like they don't include the man at all.
Wow.
Um, and it's so and that's kind of what I love is that there's space for it, but there's also space not for it.
Yeah.
And that's also like how plays operate in general, right? It's like you're there to uh interpret as needed. But more importantly, I think when we're working with the choreopoem, we have this opportunity for our imaginations and our creativity to shine through. So I have this poem in How to Exterminate the Black Woman called Vinyasa, and it's a poem about rape, but it's a poem about rape through yoga. And so she's talking about it, but they're performing a yoga routine, right? Because there's all these like different moves and poses that are listed in the poem. So while Fury is reciting, there are 3 other dancers on stage who are like performing a very specific routine that matches the poses she's talking about.
Mm.
And so the and I remember it says that in the stage directions, but I also have a different version of Vinyasa where I'm performing the poem and I'm not moving at all. And I have 2 dancers who are performing a yoga routine, not necessarily in time with all of the positions, but the energy behind them is very
Mm.
intense, right? Like there's a moment in the poem where I speed up, like I start talking fast because there's a moment in the poem where the poem just sort of requires speed. And as that's happening, you see these 2 dancers speeding up their process, and one of them gives up, right? Like the other one keeps going, but one of them just gives up and collapses into child pose. And so that's kind of what I love about the choreopoem process is that there's so much space to add and there's so much space to shift and change based on the needs of the directors and the actors.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious about something because
Okay.
I'm coming from I write it down and it's a poem head. So choreo
Yeah.
poem. So now I'm seeing it as you're describing it. is like, let's talk about the vinyasa one.
Mm.
Is there a printed thing of that performance? Like the way, if like for a play, like when you get the script, you have the description of the characters and you see the action. Is there something like that for the choreopoem, or does the choreopoem change outside of that every time it's presented?
I think there's that option. In
Okay.
How to Exterminate the Black Woman, there's no dramatist personae, for example, that like explains who all of the characters are and what their motivations are. But in Roadmap, my last query poem that was just published, I have a dramatist personae in there. And that's mostly so that when it's performed because it's very important to me that like all of the actors are people of color, right? Like that's
Mhm.
really, really important to me. And so, and after like Katori Hall, who wrote The Mountaintop, and she also wrote P Valley, that TV show on, I imagine, Stars or whatever. She heard of a production at, I think it was Kent State University, where a white man played Dr. King. And because it's only a
Oh.
two-person plays, Dr. King and a maid. And she heard of like this production where they had like a white man playing Dr. King. And she was like, that's interesting. And if the production had had a conversation about that, like if there was a talk back, if there was a discussion, if there was an opportunity to talk with the actors about like why they made that choice, then she was like, okay, I can see it. I can see it. That makes sense. Like, because colorblind casting is a thing. And that's how like we have Hamilton, right? We have like black people playing George Washington. And so, but her problem was that like, yeah, but it doesn't, it actually undermines the intensity of the show, right? A,
Yeah.
because you have a white person saying the N word all over the stage. And B, because the whole point of the reason why Dr. King was assassinated had to do with his race. Like that was part of it. And so basically she re-released the rights of the show, making it mandatory that Dr. King is played by a black man. And then she was kind of irritated that she even had to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like it was
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That should not even
It,
be a
it,
question.
right.
Like
yeah,
that's
it
that's
doesn't
that's
feel
entirely
right.
different. Colorblind casting is to create equity. That's just that's different.
That's
That's a
different.
different
It,
decision. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
It's
okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting and concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
It's both.
I had
and
the same
very
question,
curious.
Karen, about
Yeah.
publishing choreo poems. Like, because I was thinking, like, if I'm listening to this show and I'm like, this is a world I'm interested in. Like, okay, where do I go
Right.
with this? And I was thinking about like your book coming out and like what will that look like when I order it? Will it be poems on the page? Will I be able to experience the choreo poem part of it on the page? Like, will I? Okay.
Oh yeah. There. So the query poem that comes out in January is called Force, and
Hmm.
so it has its own dramatist persona that basically explains like who there's
Okay.
only two people in the show, and explains like who is who and all that stuff. But in the text, it has stage directions on one side, and it has the poems and the dialogue on the other side. So when you're
Interesting.
it starts it like because it starts the
Yeah.
same way you'd start like you'd read a play, right? Where you
Yeah.
have
Hmm.
you're like, here's what's happening with the lights, here's what's happening on stage, here's where people are moving, and so on and so forth. And so because that choreo poem starts with dancers in the audience crawling toward the front of the stage, and they're like hissing at the audience members, and they're like grabbing at them, and they're snarling, and they crawl to the stage. And then you hear, once they get there, they all collapse, and then you hear voice like from off stage the voices of the three main characters, and then like the show begins, right? And you hear a song play, and they all have a panic attack and shriek, and then they start bringing in the characters, and so it's you read it on the page, like you read it
Yeah.
on the page, all that information is there.
Oh,
So you're not like astounded, if that makes sense, or
Yeah.
surprised because
Yeah.
yeah.
you can see what's happening.
So I do, okay. I want to ask a different question. I'm gonna take you in a
Mhm.
different place.
Of course.
So one thing I wanted to ask about, this is really off, like, off, I'm it's totally changing tracks here. But I've got it written down. So I just wrote it down. Teaching. And I'm asking this because you wrote your first one when you were a fellow and you had that actor on stage by themselves, but the actor asked for the partner. And
Uh-huh.
then really sounds like you saw or felt how that doubled down on part of the intention of the play. So I
Uh-huh.
was curious about teaching and teaching this this form that invites so much freedom, and I mean so much freedom. What has teaching that brought to you? Like,
That's a good question. I think teaching the form, one, it validates the form, which is really important to me. Because I think when
mm,
I started writing choreopoems in college, and when I was writing them, I remember having to kind of justify what I was doing a lot. And though I had a very like supportive
mhm.
college that was like, oh, you want to do this weird thing? That sounds fine. And it was very successful. But I remember having sort of needing to justify it a lot more.
Mhm.
Teaching now, I don't feel that need for justification. I feel more positive. I feel more positive that like the students who are receiving this particular form and genre are learning how to like take it for themselves and recreate it. I taught the choreopoem as like honestly like an aside in my summer writers workshop this past month with all high schoolers, right? And I didn't teach it explicitly. I was just like, oh, this is a prompt and you could do this and here's what it looks like and go for it. And one of my students wrote a choreopoem for her final performance, and that's what she did. It was audience interaction. She has this beautiful poem. She had two of the members from our class like perform in it. Like it was really really cool. And I remember thinking like, and you just learned this form sort of accidentally. And she was like, this is
Wow.
the greatest thing I've ever seen. And she was in it, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that like that's what it gives me is this sort of watching a student recognize and understand the form and then realize what they can do with it. And that basically what it does for me is it proves to me that this is a legitimate form that like has artistic merit, but also it proves that like the legacy of Entisaki Shange is not is not one to be taken lightly, right? Like
Mhm.
this like when I first started officially studying and researching choreopoems, there were only maybe 20 in the country, period. But now, because I'm teaching this, I teach it almost every single year. There are hundreds now, right? Because the more I teach this class, the more that I teach workshops with this intention, the more students who learn it. I just wrapped up a workshop in the spring where I taught three women how to write choreopoems, and they came up with these incredible shows. And now they know how to do it, right? And so there's a sort of the paying it forward of Entisaki Shange, because For Colored Girls was such an important book to me. It was so important to me. It like changed the way that I saw poetry. It changed the way that I wrote. It basically told me that it gave me the kind of permission I didn't know I needed to blend all the things I love together.
Your
Like I
sister
love
gave you that book, right?
my sister gave me that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gave it
Yeah.
to me when I was 18, and I just reread it like 3 days ago,
Mm.
just cause. And I was in the same. It felt like the first time I read it anyway. It was the same intensity, the same gratitude that I had reading that play, and being just really thankful that someone has done this, so that now I can do this, and now everyone else can do
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was the phrase. It's I am because they were. Like
Mm.
that's
Oh,
that's what it feels like. And that's what I get out of it when I teach it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things I heard you say, and I think I remember, I feel like I remember this from our previous conversation too. Like, you've kind of had to make your own stage, and you do know that you're magic, which helps with that.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what would you say to someone else who is like creating on a new path or creating on a path that isn't heavily traveled, and like they're trying to And they what would you say? Like how do they keep going? How do they?
Oh, yeah. This is not even my advice. This is advice I got from Richard Sykin. Richard Sykin visited my grad school back in 2013, 2012, 2013. And I had asked him a similar question because a friend of mine was like, I love Richard Sykin. I'm so jealous of you right now. Ask him this question for me. And so I was like, of course, of course. And the question she wanted to know was essentially like, I'm creating something that I don't have a category for. Like I don't have a container for it. And I don't, and it's super weird and it's kind of scary. Like what like like what do I do? Do I keep going or do I like try to shift it, push it into a category that's easier to digest? And he said, if you're writing and what you are writing feels familiar and safe and easy, you're doing it wrong. But if what you're writing is terrifying and challenging and risky, then you're on the right path. And that's how I keep going. I think of that all the time. Like I think of the idea of every new show that I write is a huge risk. Like it's a huge risk, right? Not just in terms of potential publication or how readers will take it, but just in the sense that I'm making a decision to write something that means a lot to me. And that decision in and of itself is a big deal. Like it's a big deal. And I need to figure out, so there's a lot of like intentionality behind the idea of how do I how do I continue to write these shows that get increasingly personal as you look through my entire history of these shows. Like the first two were interview based. The third one was based on my group of friends from college. The fourth one, Roadmap, was based on actually a conversation I had with Susquehanna students and the backstory of a former friend of mine. And then Force is like all about me. It's like really, it's probably the most, that one and Hysteria, which I'm working on at the same time, they are the most direct versions of the types of work that I write. Like they're all about me specifically. And that like Force is the first show where the characters are named after me. And that's like a brand new thing. Like I'd never done it before. And when they said they wanted to publish it, I was like, are you going to change that? You're not going to change that. Like, because the whole idea is that it's supposed to be a
Yeah.
risk. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
scary. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I think that that's how I keep going, is thinking about the idea of if you if you stop or you push it into a category that feels familiar, like, are you actually going to tell the story you want to write? Like, you're actually going to tell the story, or are you going to obscure it? Are you going to actually tell it incorrectly? Are you going to, like, what are you going to do to make sure that you're still honoring your original vision? And so, the way that I keep going, the way I encourage my students to keep going is that, like, no one else can tell this story. Like, you're the only person because you're you. And if you are content with telling this story in an easy way, then go for it. That's totally fine. But if your writing is a lifeline, the way that most writers see writing as, it is against your best interests to make it easy. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, we are running out of time, but I want to ask one more question. Um, are you teaching workshops that like people, like general people could sign up for? Like how would we find out about those? Like how do we keep up with them? How do we keep up with you?
Oh, absolutely. I am not teaching any yet, but I am directing for Color Girls in February. So if anyone lives in Central PA and wants to be a part of the show, come hit your girl up. My website is just monicaprince.com. That's where all of my happenings, anything I'm doing is there, especially when I'm running workshops, when I'm running events.
Okay.
That's where you can also order any of my books and
Okay.
see where I'm going to be. Or yeah, or even ask me. You can also like contact me through the website. The my email address is just monica@monicaprince.com. So like it's super simple. And so that's how you keep up with me. I'm mostly on Instagram. I used to be on Twitter and now it's no fun anymore. So I'm not on that. So, so I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Legally, I still have a Twitter. And it's like that's pretty much how you can find me. Right
Okay.
now, I'm in a poetry challenge. So it's I'm reading a book of poetry every single day for the month of August called the Seeley Challenge. And so,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, y'all know the
Okay.
Seeley Challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so right now my Instagram is just books. So delight and excitement there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to the fact that you're responsive because I found you on Instagram and I was like, what is this person doing? I mean, I like what they're doing. Must see if they'll, and I mean, and sometimes people respond and sometimes they don't. And I was so excited. I was like, oh, she got in touch with me. This is great. So yeah, I was thrilled.
Absolutely.
Monica, you've been
Uh,
absolute magic again. Thank
Thank
you
you.
yeah.
so much. Thank you so much for what you do
Hmm.
and for sharing it with us, but really for the way you share yourself
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always, every
of
day.
course.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, it's really grateful for you. Um, okay. You made me cry both times, so I'm
I
like,
know, right?
okay. So we do have to do a little prompt.
Of course.
And give a prompt but you've given us so much that it's a little difficult for me to come up with one. And so I more thought I more thought about this last question or answer that you shared and and I more thought about suggesting to people that you look at what you're creating because I think this is with anything, right? Like if your vision is to um rehab houses and teach others how to rehab houses, to bring back a part of a neighborhood or to, whatever your vision is, like whatever it's your vision to create. And like I think that question of does it feel safe and familiar and
Mm.
comfortable, or does it feel risky because that thing that you came here to do that only you can do is probably a little risky in
Hmm.
some way. And so that's what I felt like a good life prompt would be if y- is look at what you're creating, look at what you're putting into the world, and is it is it the risk that you're supposed to take? Is it risky at all? And
Hmm.
are you supposed to be risking a little more? Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that.
yeah. So,
It's a good question.
Yes.
yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I think you could use that in anything,
Oh
really,
yeah.
Yeah.
because well, I think we go through a part of life maybe where we're super risky, like, we don't worry about anything. We got nothing to lose. We're young, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're
All the
just
if
like,
yes.
yeah. And then we get to this place where we're like, oh my gosh, I've got everything to lose. And
Mhm.
or so it feels
Yeah.
and we can get a
You
little safe and
you get into that channel of what is safe. I'm going to stay in that
yeah.
lane because
Yeah.
it's comfortable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't rock the boat. Just kind of just
And
don't make waves.
I'm not saying don't wear your
Yeah.
seatbelt. I'm just saying,
Right. Yeah.
maybe take the road less traveled. Don't,
Very
that's all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, Monica. I enjoyed being here
Ah,
with you and Karen both today. Thank y'all.
so
It was
wonderful.
great.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Oh, remember to like and comment and subscribe and do all those things and interact with Monica. Reach out to Monica.
I'm super nice, I promise.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
can tell.
Bye.